Hello everybody, and welcome back to Tiny Bunny. Last time we were here, I played the prologue, and the game proper has been released, as a matter of fact, on the day of recording. The third chapter came out, so hooray! Finally getting around to doing that. I don't know if the first chapter, when I hit new game, is going to just be the prologue again. If it is, I'll skip ahead, and if not, then we will enjoy that together. In the settings when I checked, it said voice, so I think it's voice acted now, so that'll be neat. Let's see what that's like. Okay, I think I'm at the end of the first chapter. There's probably like a couple of more lines left. The part that we played in the prologue was the first chapter. And let's see. And there are voices, but they are not in English, so I've muted them, so I'll just keep reading them in voices like I was before. But there's a bunch of new sound effects and things now. But other than that, the first chapter is identical to the prologue. So, let's see what the next chapter's like. Aha! Episode 2. Time to play with you. Alright, let me save here really quick. Want to make sure. There we go. Yes. Cool. Awesome. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates, who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Oh, I should also add, I did change one thing. I did grab the number off of the fridge for the policeman, but that was it. I completely did not realize I could do that last time. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days, when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olya. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this even in... The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster! Faster! I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between the floorboards. I need to watch my step, to survive at any cost. Hippity-hop, like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoving it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good as of someone being led up to the scaffold towards a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on 2 floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly, the fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. The darkness never fully left the house around me. Are we going to school without our parents? I thought they had to bring us. Well, maybe we're getting a bus. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. And away we go into the dark, I guess. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the sun. Oh, extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. I mean, in all honesty, it's a good thing to have. like for real. If you've got keys for your apartment or whatever, keep them on a cord that you can put around your neck if you're prone to losing things. That's happened to me and some friends of mine. It's so embarrassing. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate. It invited me into my new life towards dubious adventures. And tagged alone, wide shadows that pines threw out covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the end of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. Oh, this is where we were when we found the mitten. I was squeezing through the thin fire break, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. So our mom didn't want us to go out before. Didn't want us to go out in the woods or go outside, period, because something bad might happen, but we walk through the woods to school by ourselves when it's dark out? Ugh. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest's depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts, screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my neck so fast it made my neck crunch. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. "Who's there?" The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from my home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. This is an awfully long way for a kid to go to school on their own. Now, then again, I don't know about the location and the time period, so maybe there is no bus. The bridge's supports bathed in a spring, tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. Oh, that's nice, at least. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected." Alright, what's this new word? What game? Oh, tag. It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. Oh, somebody's having a snack. In a place where the light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive, a guttural roar.
It's a wolf boy!
It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadow didn't disappear and even got closer.
Wolf boy in parka!
My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul? Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here between the forest and the dormant village? Will you say something, dummy? Cat got your tongue? All right, I'll bite off your nose then. That'll teach you not to poke it in places it doesn't belong. A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself from getting scared by a girl before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned.
It is, in fact, a wolf girl.
Oh, fox. From the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. Oh, she's wearing a mask. A mask! It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least, I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just going to school, and then you. What about me? Never seen a fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs, one of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably. Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, and sniffed me out, then started wagging its tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird. So you didn't mean to, huh? What's your name? I'm Anton. And you? And I'm not.
Oh, I see her eyes now.
She's weird. Definitely has a couple loose screws. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl I didn't know was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. You know, I wonder if she's wearing a fox mask so that the creatures that live in the forest think she's one of them and it keeps her safe. Kind of like how people in India will wear face masks. Like masks of human faces, not like the kind you wear for COVID, on the backs of their heads so tigers think that they're being watched. Although they're crafty and they're starting to figure out that it's not a real face. I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell him that I befriended a... I'll tell him that I befriended a talking fox. Do you live around here? In the village? The fox girl giggled and purred. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up. No, dummy. Foxes don't live in villages. So you live in the forest, then? Have you been living under a rock? It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans. As long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, paper mache with fur glued onto it. The dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge, cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. What bunny? Treat from the bunny, an uneaten part of a business lunch or treat specifically bought for children. Parents would tell their children that a bunny asked them to deliver said treat, but it could also be any other animal, a squirrel or a bear, for example. Oh, neat! The tiny bunny, maybe? The stray strolled towards me with mincing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry. Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning? Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I couldn't help but just stand there like a stump. Until her calm, melodic laughter hidden under the beastly mask. I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Sweet. Did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed, went red up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once when we went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur, it was gray and skinny. But this girl was a fiery color and furry, just like in fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treat stumbled upon some soft crumpled object. You'll see. The real beasts will wake up soon. You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know. So were you going to school? Oh my, you are a real dummy. Don't you get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me. Calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog. Why are you so mean? Don't answer if you don't want to. It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me towards the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn. Oh, stop pouting. Look here. Oh, I have to figure out how to say that. Zulka? I'm going to say Zulka. I'm probably not saying it right, but hey, I'm taking a crack at it. Zulka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house, at its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light. And maybe someone else, too. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself, or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking. And who's that person? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her jaws. A mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? What is it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep? A certain missing boy immediately came to mind. Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday when our parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. That was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship.
No, I don't think so. Also, you are a child. You don't understand finances.
If only I could fix everything. Gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland. On the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out. Oh, that got you worried? For yourself or for someone else? Olya. As soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened and cold sweat streamed down my spine. Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton. This is a big and scary forest. The fox girl stepped forward menacingly. And I'm not its only tenant. The other beasts already know about you. Beware, we'll come again tonight. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking. When you and your parents will be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance. Macarena! Huh? Hey, Macarena! What? Oh, look at you. Your mouth is agape, Antasha. He saw me near his window at night? Yeah, right. Are you by any chance a dimwit? Nobody would let me go outside that late. Children go missing here, you know.
The music got really uplifting, like a Hallmark Christmas movie.
I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death. Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses? I was also nearsighted once. Listen to me, and maybe you'll become smarter. Remember, what do they call foxes? Oh my gosh. Remember, what do they call foxes? Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her. Hey, what did you... sorry. Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells. Just pulling your leg. Of course we're cunning. If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help you look for your Vova. There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming. I know why children have been swarming our forest recently. Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there. One day, I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time. Boo, so wary. Well, what will you say to this then? She held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm, including one called Turbo. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets or in kiosks, and I know what a kiosk is, but I'll check anyway. A small container-type shop selling a wide assortment of products from bubblegum to vodka, clothing, or even home appliances. These types of shops were popular in 90s Russia, and more often than not tied to criminal organizations. The mob runs the candy kiosk. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it. Turbo. It also looks like there's one that's got like a little cat on it. Like a cat? Maybe? A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me. Take some! My pockets are full of these. I will take them and be friends with the fox. I accepted the treat, and catching a whiff of the girl's smell. Fur, fireworks, and citrus. The smell of holidays. My fingers tingled while carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and something else. Something unfamiliar, but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. Oh. Bubblegum insert games. The type of game where players put bubblegum inserts into their palm and try to flip it by throwing it in the air. The player who happens to flip one or more inserts claims them as their prize. Those inserts were often considered as collectibles. I'll kind of like how here in the US, packs of gum used to come with, like, baseball cards. Or reverse that, baseball cards used to come with gum. I looked at a Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned. This is... Now do you see what can be found in the forest? Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you. You'll get so flustered over simple bubblegum after all. Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these. It'll surely blow your mind. Unusual treats. Just like everything else about her. I like her spooky giggle. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if I were putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway. Or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl. What if Vova also found a snow pile with sweets and is now rolling in it? Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest? He must be so cold without a second mitten then. She knows about the mitten! The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches. Or, what if something happened to him along the way? Something terrible. The forest reacted to her words, became alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears just like a curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again. Wild beasts? You find that scary? Well, I don't know. He doesn't know. Oh my, have I befriended a dunce? I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice. My grades are good. Really now. Will you come with me, good grades Anton? We'll find your Vova and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest. As long as you're with me, nothing can hurt you in the forest. You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind. I don't believe you. Do you take me for a liar? Whatever, you're just like everybody else. The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she'd immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to me. Please don't get mad. Foxes can also be nice. Like in fairy tales. I just need to know what kind of fox you are.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of my followers over on Patreon and give a special shout out to Jack Fox, Old Monster, and Dizarin. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Hey everyone! Thanks for watching. Like what you saw? Have thoughts you want to share? Let me know in a comment. Want to help my channel grow? Then share with your friends or subscribe so that you never miss a new video. If you'd like to help me out and get some neat rewards, consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you so much, you guys. I really couldn't do it without you.